give a big shout out to Woolly Mammoth. Thank you, Woolly Mammoth, for being our great intro. Hey! Yeah! Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone, and welcome to a night away from the museum celebrating our founding artists. I'm Marianne Stetz, president of the Mystic Museum Art Board. And while we wish we could all be together in person tonight, we are once again hosting our annual fundraiser virtually out of an excess of caution for you, our friends and supporters. At the time of our planning, we weren't sure whether the world would be reopened by this time, and we are so glad it is. We hope you'll come visit us in person soon, as the museum is also open. Thanks so much for joining us from home and supporting our Mystic Museum of Art. I would like to give a shout out to our generous sponsors appearing on our screen now, and give special thanks to our platinum and gold sponsors. I would also like to give a double shout out to our gala committee, and especially our co-chairs, Ann Page and Cindy Martin. Without them and their team, this evening would not have been possible. And now it's my pleasure to introduce MMOA board member Will Cox, back by popular demand, and now coming to you live from the Mystic Museum of Art. Take it away, Will.
Thanks, Marianne. It's an honor to be here with you again, very much live at the museum with you all tonight. As all of you understand, the arts are important to our community and how fortunate we are to have the Mystic Museum of Art in our backyard. I am so excited to be with you tonight to celebrate it and support the exciting programming the museum has in store as the world opens up. Thank you so much for being here. Your participation makes a humongous difference. Now buckle up, we've got a great night ahead. So here's what we have in store for our programming, all crammed into one short hour. If you tuned in early, you got to listen to some great tunes from Mystic's local Woolly Mammoth. They generously donated their performance to benefit the museum for this event. The band also just released their first all-original vinyl album from Woolly Mammoth. Check out their upcoming performances on their website. A huge shout out to Toby, Gray, Mike, Scott, and Jay. Next up, we'll have Kevin Rogers, bartender to the stars at local hotspot Bravo Bravo, who will demonstrate how to make his signature cocktail, Kev's Cosmo. You're invited to mix along. There will be both an alcoholic and non-alcoholic version to accommodate everyone's tastes. Or prepare your own beverage of choice. We'll all then toast to the Mystic Museum of Art. Then we'll have a Mystic exhibitions manager, Olivia Honorado, who will take us to our behind-the-scenes sneak peek at our summer's exhibition, opening this Tuesday, June 15th, featuring the museum's founding artists. More on that later. Then we'll take a close look at one of our paintings from the exhibition with Executive Director Susan Fisher. Then we'll have some quiz questions to test your knowledge of MMMA fun facts. And yes, there will be prizes from the museum store. And of course, we will need you all to get your wallets ready for our Fund a Need. It's your chance to donate to a very specific fundraising project. This year, our goal is to raise $15,000 to support new gallery education-based programming. We'll end with more tunes from Woolly Mammoth to cap off the night. But before we get going, here are a few housekeeping items to help make the most of tonight's event. Have your cocktail ingredients handy so you're ready to mix along with Kevin. The ingredients list was sent along with you in the Zoom invite. Also, grab your snacks, get comfy, make sure you have your credit card and checkbooks ready. I can't emphasize that enough. If you run into any technical issues, click the chat button at the bottom of your screen and let us know where the trouble is. Our tech goddess, my wife, talented Melissa Cox, will get right back to you. When you click the chat button, you'll have the option to send a message to all panelists. Don't do that. Instead, click the drop-down arrow and select all panelists and attendees. This means you will send a chat to everyone can see it. We're telling you this now because it will become important later in the evening when we do the quiz questions, as well as our very important Fund a Need. So if you can go ahead, say hello to your friends. We're in the chat now. We may say hello back. If you have any questions, our tech troubles might go on, just type them into the chat button and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. On another note, this whole event, music and all, is being recorded. When it's all said and done, we'll send you a link to the recording in case you want to see it later or share with your friends. It is now my pleasure to introduce bartender to the stars, Kevin, for his Kevin Cosmo. Kevin, off to you.
Thanks, Will. Kevin Rogers here. We're going to work on some cocktails for your experience this evening. The first one is the cocktail that I learned 17 years ago from Miss Betty herself. It was called the Cosmo Queen, but I've changed it now to the Kevin Cosmo. So all you're going to do is you're going to take your vodka. You're going to do 3 ounces, which is the bartender probably like his count of 6. Then a little bit of Cointreau, just a tiny bit. Everything is in tinies. Here's the lime, fresh lime juice, just a teeny bit. A splash of cranberry. My secret, it really is the tiniest bit of pink. Light pink. And then the secret ingredient. And here's Kev's quick tip number 1.
Aquafaba. What is aquafaba? Aquafaba is the juice of a chickpea. All you need to do is get that can of chickpeas, open it up, and pour a dash into your drinks. At Bravo, I use them for our pisco sours, our margaritas, and our Kev Cosmos. It builds that nice froth to it and it makes it look super beautiful and you won't taste a thing.
Then all you have to do is pour. See that foam? And then we like to finish it off with a lime wheel. There you go. Kev Cosmo. That's pretty for real.
Thanks, Kevin. That was fun. Chickpeas, who knew? Not going down the drain anymore. Aquafaba, I think it's here to stay. I think we can all agree. And to that, I'd like to toast to the Mystic Museum of Art.
To the Mystic Museum of Art, Will.
Cheers, Marianne.
Cheers.
And cheers to everyone at home participating. That's delicious.
It is delicious.
You can't even taste the fava beans.
Delicious.
Cheers. Now let's hear from exhibitions manager Amelia Honorato about this summer's special exhibition featuring the museum's founding artists. It is important to note that more than half of the works in the exhibition are on loan from private collections. That means you won't be able to see the art in this exhibition anywhere but here at the museum. Also, a very special thanks to our lenders. And by the way, Amelia also composed all of our quiz questions this evening. Thanks, Amelia. Off to you.
For over 100 years, this section of Connecticut has drawn artists from all over who've been attracted by the area's natural beauty and who ended up moving here permanently because of the community that they were able to found here. This summer, for 3 months, the Mystic Museum of Art is mounting an exhibition celebrating these founding and early members who made us what we are today. This exhibition is really about our history. And when I say us, I'm not talking about the museum. I mean Mystic itself. I'm Amelia Honorado, the exhibitions manager of the Mystic Museum of Art. Welcome to a preview of the summer's exhibition, The Founders. Charles Harold Davis, founder of the Mystic Museum of Art, then known as the Mystic Art Association, traveled to Paris. He studied briefly at the Académie Julian before taking a little side trip to the forest of Fontainebleau, where he discovered the Barbizon art colony. At that time, there was this big dynastic shift that was happening in the art community, where a lot of young artists, especially, were turning away from the traditional, very solid and staid art academy tradition. So when he returned to the United States in the 1890s, he was really searching for that same type of energy and that same type of natural beauty. And he found it here in Mystic. Davis ended up being so inspired by what he saw here that between 1900 and his death in 1933, he painted almost 900 paintings. They were exhibited far and wide to great acclaim, and he drew a lot of attention to this little neck of the woods, including the attention of Henry Ward Ranger. When he saw this amazing rugged feel that Charles Davis was presenting, he was intrigued, and he came out to Noank for the first time in 1902. And by 1904, he had settled permanently on the banks of the Mystic River down in Noank, Connecticut. And now we had two incredibly nationally renowned artists living in the area. And they brought in so many other aspiring artists in such droves that local newspapers were running stories imploring these artists to not wipe their oil brushes on the leaves and grass in the pastures because it was making the local cows sick. The Mystic Art Colony actually became so large, it wasn't constrained to just Mystic anymore. It stretched all the way down to the mouth of the Mystic River, which is flanked on one side by Mason's Island and the other side by Noank, Connecticut. Mason's Island, it was where artists like Herbert Stoops, Lester Baranda, his daughter Bonnie Baranda, Garrett Price, and Y.E. Soderbergh ended up settling. A lot of folks also ended up in Noank, like Ranger, and especially Robert Brackman and Lars Thorsen.
I'm so excited that we're going to be able to feature the Francis Brackman painting in this new exhibition.
So am I. She's one of the favorites in the collection. The reason I bring up Brackman is that he was one of the foremost portrait painters of his time period. He painted JFK, he painted Charles Lindbergh.
Do I understand that we have the dress itself in the archives?
We not only have her dress, we actually found her handkerchief wrapped up in tissue paper as well. Brackman is probably the most interesting in terms of this preview. He was not from the Mystic area. Most of these artists were not, but he was born the furthest afield. He was born in Odessa in what is now Ukraine. He emigrated to the United States as a child, ended up in New York City, and that is how, like many of our other early artist members, he started commuting out to Mystic in the summers, fell in love with the area, and moved permanently. He also taught classes out of his studio, which is attached to his home that is still standing in Noank today. These studio classes were very well attended and very fondly remembered. We have firsthand accounts of how the local boys in town, when they heard that Brackman had a live model, used to come over and peek in the windows because those models were often ladies in various stages of undress. So I mentioned that most of the artists in the Mystic Art Colony, early Mystic Art Association, were transplants. They ended up moving here from further afield. One of the exceptions is Ken Bates, who grew up in Mystic. His father was the local reverend, and Ken left town to attend the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts in the 1920s. And that's where he met his future wife, Gladys Edgerly. And in 1926, the Bateses moved back to Mystic, back to his hometown, where the fledgling Mystic Art Association was 13 years old and was blossoming. By 1930, The annual exhibitions had gained national acclaim. There were newspaper reporters coming from New York, from Boston. There were hundreds of guests at the opening receptions. And so it was decided that a permanent location was really required. And 1930 was the same year that the old Rafferty property, this property, went up for sale for a paltry $5,000, about $80,000 in today's money. And the reason why waterfront property in downtown Mystic was so cheap was it was literally the town dump. As the Mystic art community had done all along, they banded together to really make this a reality. So when I say the Founders Exhibition is about the history of Mystic, I mean it. Many of the works that will be on display have been loaned by private collectors, so they're not usually available for people like you and me to see. And a lot of the scenes and locations depicted are of local areas that still exist to this day. So we have this incredible privilege that Mystic today, although it has been very modernized, is still very much the Mystic that brought in the art colonists, that brought in the attention, that caused everything else that exists here today.
Thank you, Amelia. That was fascinating. Don't forget to come to the museum this summer to see the special exhibition. Remember, it opens this Tuesday, June 15th, and will be on view until September 12th. Admission is free, so there's no excuse not to come by and see it. And now it is time, without further ado, to start our first quiz question. So hope all of you viewers at home aren't getting too comfy on the couch just yet. Top off your drinks, sharpen your wits, and get ready to hit the chat button and type in your answers. It will be a multiple choice question. The first correct answer wins a stylish MMOA hat, perfect for a hot summer day. The question is, when the museum building was constructed in 1931, guests and artists would arrive by land via the 9 Water Street entrance, or by what other method? Interesting. I'll say that one again. When the museum building was constructed in 1931, guests and artists could arrive by land via today's 9 Water Street entrance, or by what other method? Please pick for one of these correct answers. A, air. There was a zip line between the museum and Seaport Marine across the river. B, tunnel. There was an underwater passage connecting the west and east banks of the Mystic River, dating back to the American Revolution, to allow visitors to avoid both redcoats and the drawbridge traffic we still suffer from. Or C, water. There used to be a dock on the museum property to let visitors arrive by boat until the hurricane of 1938. Go ahead and type your answers in the chat. We've got a great crew here helping us all out tonight, operating the cameras and all the tech behind the scenes. This includes my lovely co-host and our Zoom producer, the talented Lissa Martin. Lissa is helping with the audience interactive component of this evening, and we'd like to invite her up to see if we have any answers. Lissa, any answers coming into the first quiz question?
Hi, Will. It's
Hey,
great
Lissa.
to be here again.
Great to be back again.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah,
I mean, you won't believe it. The chats are just firing right up, and
All right.
several people got them right
it's
already.
a handsome hat. What
It
do you
is.
say? What
So
do we
the-
have?
If you guess C, you are correct. The answer is water, because there used to be a dock on the museum's property. We should maybe go back to that, given the parking situation.
Great idea. I
So-
love it.
Congratulations to the person who wrote fastest, Michael Melford.
Michael Melford. Thank you, Michael. We'll make sure you get this lovely hat. Send to your door. Thanks, Michael. And thank you, Lissa. Doc, I think that's a good idea. Susan, I think we've got an idea for 2022's Fund a Need. What does everyone say? Sounds like a great idea. But seriously, you're going to love the hat. And if you didn't win this time around, stay tuned because there are more opportunities to come. And now I'd like to introduce Mystic Museums of Art's Executive Director, Susan Fisher, for a short talk about one of her favorite pieces of artwork in the museum's summer exhibition, The Founders, Reclaiming Mystic's Artistic Roots. Susan lived as a painter for many years in Philadelphia and holds an MFA from the University of Pennsylvania. She pursued museum studies at the École du Louvre and Sorbonne in Paris. Susan came to Mystic from the Taos Museum of Art in New Mexico, where she served as executive director for 6 years. We welcome any comments or questions you may have after Susan's presentation. Just send them via the chat function in the center button of your screens, and remember to send to all panelists and attendees. We'll address as many as we can. And if we run out of time, Susan will reply to those questions in her world-famous e-blast on the museum's website. And by the way, if you're not already receiving the great e-blast, please sign up on the website or post in the chat and we'll make sure it comes to you. Also, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Off to you, Susan.
Thank you, Will, and thank you to the owners, the collectors who've lent art to the current exhibition, and to you at home who are making this fundraiser possible. The opportunity to speak to you about art is the whole point of the evening this evening. Some paintings we love for their grandeur. Some paintings we love for the sake of the artists who create them. Some paintings we love for the pivotal role they play in art history. Other paintings we simply love because they capture something so simple, so stunning, so apparent that once we've seen them, we can no longer imagine the world without them. Such a painting for me is Nat Little's Silver Sail. I'd like to start off with just a little bit of context for you about the artist. Nat Little was born in Montana in 1893 and instantly had some challenges to overcome in becoming an artist. He was from the West, still very distant from centers of privilege and wealth. He was an American, and his young country was still emerging from the ravages of the Civil War, still had to prove itself on the international stage. Famously, the critic Walter Armstrong wrote of American art as a wilderness, a desert of amateurish imbecility. For Nat and his peers, the solution was clear. It was the Academy. The Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts was the first such institution on American soil. Nat jumped on the Transcontinental Railroad and headed east, and he flourished at the Academy, eventually winning their top scholarship, enabling him to travel to Paris to study at the Académie Julian. It must have been breathtaking for a young man from the ragged western edge of the United States. He shared the experience with other Pennsylvania Academy students, Kenneth Bates and Gladys Edgerly, whom Kenneth would later marry, and Carl Lawless. Together they studied at the Academy, and increasingly they questioned the Academy. Back in the United States, Nat Little decided to pursue more studies at the Art Students League in New York City, when Kenneth and Gladys, now married, moved to Mystic, where Kenneth was from, and Carl Lawless went with them. It wasn't long before Nat decided that he could no longer resist the natural beauty of the setting, the proximity of like-minded artists and friends, and the freedom from the restrictions of the Academy. He moved to Mystic, and under the guidance of Charles Harold Davis, their mentor, the group helped found the Mystic Art Association as an alternative, a career alternative to the Academy. It was a risky move at any time. In the face of the Great Depression, it could have been catastrophic. They were saved largely thanks to the Federal Art Project of Roosevelt's Works Progress Administration. In the long run, they did flourish, so did the Art Academy. And eventually, Nat Little did return to Montana, where he died at the ripe old age of 78 in 1971. I believe that we can see some of his experiences of change and self-determination reflected in this very lovely painting. What do we observe at the outset? Well, it's representational. It's intended to convey a very specific three-dimensional space. It's a maritime painting, a vessel offshore. It's at the cusp of the day. The sun is either going up or coming down. The horizon is very clear. At least it is now. We don't know what's coming with the turbulent air reflected in the sky, in the cloudscape. And what may not be immediately apparent to you is there's no foreground. This painting is all about that middle ground and the deep space of the background. Its colors are uniformly cool. They recede away from the viewer. They're beautifully modulated, but overall the palette is a soothing, receding blue. The format, very nearly square. This isn't going anywhere. It's very stable. And overall, the simplicity or the apparent simplicity of color, composition, and format create a kind of resonance and stability and calm for the viewer. Now, what might we see if we could stop reading the image and just look at the composition? Well, there's a very easy way to find out, and it can be just turning the painting upside down. To me, the effect is startling when I first did this with this painting. The tone changes completely, but the groundedness does not. What do I mean by that? Well, the test of any representational painting is its sense of gravity. Do the masses hold together? When we turn this painting upside down, though it doesn't make literal sense, down is still down, the water is still the water, the masses hold together. Why do we feel that so consistently? Well, partly it's this beautiful, clear horizon, modulated but straight and unbroken. We have also these reiterating tiny wavelets, these beautiful, I don't know if you can see them, these beautiful small lines that are interspersed with quiet highlights, almost like notes on a musical scale. The whole thing coheres, it holds together. What's so stunning about turning this upside down, what changes is its sense of agitation. We go from a quiet boat in the evening to this very agitated cloudscape. Why does that become more obvious to us now that we've turned it upside down? Well, because we're human beings. This occupies the space we would enter if we walked into the painting, and we are sensitive to that. Lastly, when we turn it upside down, what we notice is this very beautifully, delicately painted lighthouse. This is not a bolt of light in the depths of night. This is a gentle, pulsing light that does its job and no more. Let's turn it back around. I can't stand how much I love this painting. I almost can't stand how much I love this painting. So small boat, big sky, coming of evening, change in the weather. Why isn't this cliche? What keeps this from falling into the cliche of a dramatic moment? Well, largely it's understatement. We've discussed how carefully modulated these blues are. They go from a warm blue to a cool blue, and even the highlights have blue tints. Even the warm colors in the sky, in these negative spaces where the warmth of the sun comes through, even those are modulated by tints of cool. What also keeps this from being predictable, though, is that calamitous sky. The brush strokes are vivid, the shapes are irregular and abstract. And compared to these rhythmical musical lines in the water, they set up almost an auditory sensation, especially when you add in that tone, that note of the lighthouse, almost like a foghorn in the evening. To me, the whole thing is suggestive of a day that is receding into night and the lapping of waves against the hull of a boat. Maritime paintings are often violent. They depict great events, battles at sea. Maritime paintings depict the conflict of elemental forces, as in the paintings of J.M.W. Turner. This painting is almost hypnotically quiet. To me, it conveys a receding, as we've discussed, conditioned by the deeps of the sea and the very human scale of the boat and the lighthouse. Because the lighthouse is so understated, it becomes for us a guide, not an endpoint. Because the only suggestion of great forces of nature are way up in the sky, we feel as though the overall sensation is that the boat is starting its journey. The water is calm, the sails are full. We see the landmarks that we need to guide by. It's almost as though Nat Little was saying, my craft can take whatever's coming. I don't expect to control the elements. I live among them, and in their strength and plenitude, they are beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. That was so interesting. A preview of great programming to come. We'll take a few minutes now for a quick Q&A based on the presentation. Viewers, if you have any questions for Susan or her talk, please go ahead and type them into the chat now. We'll invite Lissa back up to the stage and we'll get right into the Q&A. Lissa?
Here I am.
Hey,
Hello
Lissa.
again. Susan, thank you. That was wonderful.
Fascinating.
I love that painting. And we did actually get a couple of questions coming in. One is about a phrase that you mentioned. You mentioned maritime art and also marine art in your talk. So are those the same thing or are they a little different?
Well, to nerds like myself, they are different. A marine painting is a painting of natural elements doing their natural dance. A maritime painting includes some human element, either the built environment of a boat or the presence of a fisherman or someone engaged in the water. So it's a distinction between a human moderated environment or a purely natural one.
Gotcha. That's interesting. I did not know the difference between those two. So one other question we got actually is about the WPA. So why did Roosevelt fund the arts as part of the Works Progress Administration?
Such a good question. And boy, I wish we all had a glass of wine and about a couple of hours to spend talking about it. But in short, it was the artist George Biddle, who was Franklin Delano Roosevelt's childhood friend, who persuaded the new president that if he put artists to work, they could deploy their skills and their talents to motivate and reassure the American public by portraying ordinary people as resilient, beautiful, and worthy of notice.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Any other questions coming through the chat, Alyssa?
Yeah, I actually just saw one from Cynthia Martin. You
All
might
right.
know her. Thank you for your question. She wants to know, is the frame original? It's so beautiful and
great
like
question.
shining gold in the room tonight.
That is such a good question that I don't have an answer for it. Let me say that it is in such good condition that I'm tempted to say it would not be original, but the owner and the lender of this painting, thank you, John Sproul, takes such good care of his artwork that it's a possibility. What I can tell you is that at the turn of the 19th into the 20th century, a gold frame was de rigueur for important artwork. It separated the image from the environment, not just by adding a spacer, but also by creating almost a jewel box in which the painting could reside.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for answering those, Susan. That was wonderful. And I will turn it back to Will to move on to the next segment.
Thanks, Lissa. And this brings us for a chance to another quiz question and a chance to win a prize. So hit your chat button now so you can get your answers in quickly. This time, the first correct answer wins a snazzy dazzy Mystic Museum of Art t-shirt. Very attractive, one of my favorite additions from the Mystic Museum of Art store. And here we go. The question is, the average gender distribution of artists represented in major US art museums skews 87% male to only 13% female. How did this ratio break down amongst the 8 founding members of the Mystic Art Association? Again, post your answers in the chat. I'll read it again. The average gender distribution of artists represented in major US art museums skews 87% male to only 13% female. How did this ratio break down amongst the 8 founding members of the Mystic Art Association? And the potential answers are: boys rule, girls drool. No girls were allowed into the boys club for fear their cooties would ruin and contaminate the fine art. B, equal split. 4 men and 4 women founded the Mystic Art Association. Or C, girl power. The Amazonians owned the place. Do we have a winner? Anyone know this one? Lissa, come on up. Anyone coming in? Do we have a winner?
This is very exciting, Will. I'm pleased to say we do have a winner.
Okay, and the answer is?
The answer was B, equal
B.
split.
All right.
4 men and 4 women founded the Mystic Art Association, which was highly unusual and progressive for the time.
Absolutely.
So congratulations.
Great t-shirt.
Elizabeth
Also comes in
Andreas.
multiple colors:
Woohoo!
blue, red, gray, black,
Woo.
and green. We'll make sure to get the right size, gender, and color to you.
Yay!
Thanks
Congrats,
for
Elizabeth.
playing.
Woo!
Woo-hoo. And for the rest of you, remember there's still one chance left to win an exciting prize from the museum store. Now, in all seriousness, we are very excited about the shirt and the museum logo. Great colors to choose from, moving right along. Everyone watching this evening has already made a contribution to MMOA, and we are so very grateful for your support. By participating in this virtual event with such low overhead costs, you are investing towards our big goal this year: the development of new gallery-based education programming. We're excited about introducing this new innovative approach to visitor engagement for the post-COVID era. Now, here again is Susan Fisher to tell you about tonight's Special Funded Need Drive and how your support can go to make a difference. We hope you will be moved to make a donation, an investment in our community. If you haven't already done so, now would be a good time to pull up a new browser on your computer and find the MMOA's Fund a Need page. We are putting the URL in the chat now. Thank you, Susan. This is exciting.
Thank you, Will, and thank you again to everyone who's attending tonight. I couldn't be more excited about the purpose for the Fund a Need this evening, because it gives me a chance to do that thing that is so important to me and that makes everything else make sense, and that's sharing an experience of art. MMOA remains true to the founding artists' intention of sharing the practice and appreciation of art as widely as possible. By creating what was then called the Mystic Art Association, they ended up creating an entire art colony. Steeped in the founder's studio practice and studio education, MMOA will now focus on education in the galleries. Transformative educational experiences of art in our galleries is central to our mission. There are so many ways we can do this. Audio tours and commentaries about landmark works of art that visitors could listen to either on headphones or on their telephones. Video clips in isolated areas of the museum and on the museum website to give personal and historical context to the art on exhibition. A docent program to introduce visitors to MMOA, to the art and artists in person. Finally, outreach and audience surveys to fill us in on what visitors want, what ideas are coming, what the trends are, and how we can make the experience here more fulfilling. We need to do this now so that we can have it in place for the major loan exhibition coming next year. Norman Rockwell's Saturday Evening Post covers Tell Me a Story. At a minimum, we aim to raise $15,000 to make it all happen. So that's what we'll do. With the money raised tonight and over the next 2 weeks, we will fund technology systems to deliver audio and visual content, trainers and materials to develop a docent tours program, consultants and systems for researching audience needs, interests, and priorities. I know the pandemic has brought hardship to all of us. I know local businesses and nonprofits have all exhausted their resources just to stay in business this long. So any amount that you are comfortable with will be deeply appreciated and will make a difference. I promise you, it will be well invested. We've provided a few tiers as starting suggestions, and we appreciate your generosity and your time. With my heartfelt thanks to you all, I'll turn it back over to Will Cox. Back to you.
Thank you, Susan. This is exciting. I can see the credit cards jumping out of wallets now. In a traditional gala, of course, we'd use this moment to do a paddle raise. But since we're online, we have to change it up a bit. If you remember from last year, things could get a little bit wild. So we're here to have fun and make sure those donations come in. So we've got two different ways you can donate here this evening. The first, open up a browser and donate via the museum's website. The link is on your screen and also posted in the chat. Or second, please just send us your name and pledge amount in the chat, and we'll follow up with you right after the event and make sure your money gets to the right place. Don't worry if you navigate away from the Zoom for a minute to make an online donation. We won't lose you won't lose us. Just click the blue Zoom icon. It looks like a video camera, and it'll send you right back to the main screen. We're making a big push to start things off, so thank you all for the fabulous support. We have 5 giving levels this evening: 500, 250, 100, 50, and 25, or any amount that you're comfortable with. So if you're able, inspired, feel free to donate at one of these levels. Remember, this is a low overhead event. That means all of your money can go straight towards our programming. Think about all the money you saved not going on vacation or going out to eat over the last year, and think about how you can use those funds to invest them in the museum's new educational gallery programs. I'm going to start the buy high with a $500 donation. $500, I'll write it out here. Who's with me? Lissa's going to come up and help me support as the pledges start to come in. 500. Who do we have at 500? Anyone coming in? 500, 500. Do we have any 500? Luna Rice, thank you, 500, 500. Anyone else coming in at 500? Let's check the chat.
Right.
Do we have
I'm
any
glad to
500s
be
coming
up
in?
here.
Coming
We
in?
do. We actually, in a strange change of events, I just got a phone call. That's why I was a little late coming up here.
All
Andy
right.
Halsey, $500.
$500 coming in via phone. We'll take it by phone, via chat, any way you want to donate.
Anyway.
Again, more $500 donations. Who's at 500?
I'm
500.
I'm
Harry
seeing
and
Harry
Liz
and Liz
White. All
White.
right. Thank you, Harry and Liz White. 500. Anyone else coming in at 500? I think we've got
Yes,
2,000
I got
already.
Karen Page
Very
here.
exciting. Very exciting. 500. Anyone else at 500? Aaron Page. All right. Karen Page as well. All right. 500. While we still have 500 open, we'll be accepting 500 donations all night evening or any amount you're comfortable. Let's open it out one more level, Alyssa. What do you say?
Good idea.
250, 250. Who do we have at 250, 250? Still 500, but 250 as well. Who do we have at 250, 250?
You know what's
Any
fun about
250
this
coming
paddle
in?
race is
Mom,
very
I'm dragging
real
it in
battles.
here. Marie Cox, 250. We've got Marie Cox at 250. Live here in the studio audience at 250. Anyone else? Michael Melford coming in at 500.
Right.
It's a great hat. I assure you, Michael, it's worth 500. Anyone else at 500, 250,
We got a 250.
We
I'm
still got
seeing Bob
250.
Martin.
Bob
Woo!
Martin. All right. Thank you, Bob, at 250. Great. Let's open it up to the 100 level.
Yeah.
100, we're accepting $100 donations. We'll also accept 250. We'll also accept 500, but also 100. Who's coming in at 100? Do we have anyone ever? Whoa, another studio audience here. Susan Fisher coming in at 100. Thank you for your generosity, Susan. And again, for your beautiful talk.
All
Great
right.
lecture. We've got other Bob Christensen coming in at 500, another big
Rob.
500. Thank you
Robin
very
Torrey,
much.
Thank you.
All right.
James
Any other
Coker,
250s?
thank
100s.
you.
Let's open it up to 50. We've opened it all levels. 50, 50. Do we have any 50? 200,
Oh.
50.
You know, last year, everyone really did a really great job of helping us stay afloat, and we'd love to lean on them for that
I
kind of
think
support
we
again.
need some
Don't you think?
PFDs
Yeah.
here because it's going a little slow with the donations. Help us
We
stay
got, you
afloat,
know,
ladies and
we just
gentlemen.
need a 50.
Wait, I think
Who's
we've
it
got
gonna
one
be?
more 500 coming in. Maxwell Boatyard coming in at 500. Listen,
Yeah.
we see any others?
We
coming in
do.
at
We got
500?
we got James Coker. We already got
John
that one.
Stinker,
Yeah.
Coker, we've got lots of 500. We've got Maxwell Boatyard just came in at 500. I think we're staying afloat. Should we
I
leave
think
them?
we are.
I
We
think
should ditch them.
I think we ditched the light jackets. Thanks for the help, ladies and gentlemen. 500. Well, we're well on our way to reaching our goal of 1,500. We'll open it up to $25 as well.
Well,
$25.
we just add a zero
We're-
to that one because we got 250 from Ann Page.
All right. Thank you, Ann. 250. That's great. Keep them flowing. Ladies and gentlemen, all of your donations really important tonight for great investor enriching programming for a visitor experience, great educational programming, exciting events to look forward to, Norman Rockwell, a deeper viewer experience, educational programming, free for visitors, free for guests.
And
Very exciting.
We'd like
We've got
to
other
shout out
donations
Mary
coming in.
Drucker with $100.
All right, again, very important programming. Your support is much appreciated. Please donate now. We will be holding the donations open until the end of the month, so you can always donate afterwards. But we're really making a big push tonight to get to our $15,000 goal.
And we
Do
got
we have
50
anyone else?
more from
Anyone
Nicole
else coming in?
Young.
All
Thank you,
right.
Nicole.
Coming in, that's great. Great, your support really makes a difference. Again, still more time to come in. Really looking forward to get close to
Woo,
our goal
Amelia
of
Honorado,
$15,000.
$50.
All right, thank you, Amelia, and thank you for your great presentation earlier this evening.
We
Great.
got them.
Well, I think we're going to keep the pledge drive open, but maybe we'll transition and go to our third and final quiz question.
I think that's a great idea.
All right,
Thank you
let's
so
do it.
much. Keep them coming in.
Again, keep those donations coming at all
Online,
levels.
check, by
We'll
cell
accept it all.
phone, whatever
Cell
you wanna
phone, Bitcoin, whatever you want, we'll accept it. And
Thank
now
you.
there's one last chance to win a quiz prize. Remember, send your answers in the chat. This time, the first correct answer wins a Mystic Museum of Art tote bag. Great for the grocery store or the beach day. Lovely for art supplies, paint, drawing, whatever it is. And the question is, here we go, final question. Between 1914, the year the Mystic Art Association had its first meeting, and 1931, the year a permanent location was constructed, where did the artists hold their annual exhibitions? I'll say this one more time. Between 1914, the year the Mystic Art Association held its first official meeting, and 1931, the year a permanent location was constructed, where did the artists hold their annual exhibitions? Which answer is correct? A, the Broadway School. When classes weren't in session, artists exhibited their work on the buildings on School Street. B, the historic Mystic Marriott, located just across the road from the reservoir and known for their very reasonable event pricing. Or C, the Mystic Baptist Church, conveniently located in the heart of downtown Mystic, but things could get a little bit chaotic if Happy Time Nursery School was in session. I think I know the answer, but do any of you out there, Melissa, what are people saying? Do we have any correct answers coming through the chat?
We sure do. The answer was the Broadway School. When classes weren't in session, artists exhibit their work in this building on School Street. And by 1930, the exhibitions actually took up multiple floors. Today, the school has been converted into condos.
Lovely.
So congratulations to our winner, who also happens to be a lender. Thank you, John Sproul.
Thank you.
So what is John gonna get?
John gets this lovely tote bag, and our team will make sure to reach out to you directly about claiming your prize.
Awesome. And also, I just wanted to pass you this because we got 2 more donations. You want to read them?
Oh, I think we got the Maxwell Boatyard, and then I'm not sure what the last one was.
Jim
there.
and KT Hunter.
All right. Thank you.
And the Rices for $250. Awesome.
Well, we'd like to thank everyone for making this evening such a success. We've had so much fun with you tonight and can't thank you enough for the generous support. Remember, if you have any questions, please donate via the pledge drive. It is open through June 30th. You can make a check out to us here on mail by 9 Water Street, Mystic, Connecticut 06355. I hope you've all had as much fun as we have. On behalf of the museum, thank you so much for your participation and support. We look forward to seeing you in person this summer at our newest exhibition, On View, this Tuesday, June 15th through September 12th. It is now time to relax, kick it, because we got 10 more minutes of music for you from our local own Woolly Mammoth. So don't forget to check out their website, post it in the chat, and check out their new album for upcoming performances. Thank you to everyone who has helped make this evening a success, our sponsors, and a special call out to those platinum and gold levels, Bravo Bravos, Kevin Rogers, and Woolly Mammoth. And also to the awesome team here tonight. Please enjoy the closing set. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Sailing on a Sunday, a Caribbean sea, a tonic lime and by the Bayesian view. Make you drool. The drink started flowing. I took what I could get. My confidence was growing as the sun began to set. I rode that mule to Bridgetown, a caution from the side. The girl's hair was light brown, she lured me outside. Don't you get fooled by the Bayesian mule. She make you drool. It's pretty Don't you get fooled by the Bayesian mule. Make you drool. Reeling and a rocking, a classic Bayesian style. A trouble came a knocking as we headed around the aisle. I came to in Bathsheba, our pockets inside out. I swore not to believe you, but the mule, she wore me out. Don't you get fooled by the Bayesian mule. Make you drool.
All right, Toby Niffen, by request.
Yeah, we've had a request for a little bit of funk, so we're gonna try to deliver that.
If you spill my cup, if you knock it down, I'll just fill it back up, pass it around. If you ring the bell, give me the plan. Give me shout, yeah, I'm a boomerang. Go ahead and steal my car, I got another one. Drink at my favorite bar, just having more fun. If you lock me out, give me back. Hear me shout, I'm a boomerang. I'm a boomerang, baby. That's a fact. I'm a boomerang, baby. Keep coming back. I'm a boomerang, baby. Try to throw me away, but I'm a boomerang. I'll just ricochet. I'm a boomerang. I'll just ricochet. Throw me a bone, I dig a hole, try to get me stone, I just search for soul. Yeah, Keith, if you make a fuss, I'll just say damn. You can swear and cuss that I'm a boomerang. Yeah, I'm a boomerang. Go ahead and take my money, I got another stack. Go ahead and take my honey, I'll just woo her back. Try to shake me loose, just to shake my thang. If you did loose, I'm a boomerang. I'm a boomerang, baby. That's a fact. I'm a boomerang, baby. Keep coming back. I'm a boomerang, baby. Try to throw me away, but I'm a boomerang. I just ricochet. I'm a boomerang, baby. That's a fact. I'm a boomerang, baby. Keep coming back. I'm a boomerang, baby. Try to throw me away, but I'm a boomerang. I just ricochet. I'm a boomerang. I just ricochet.
And now it's making me feel uptight. Just when I thought everything was fine. But now she's making me walk the line. And those blues be coming down. Now that that woman's not around, there ain't no time to be saving face. 'Cause I'm just gonna find myself lost in space. So I guess I bought the farm. 'Cause now this love is bringing me harm. I can't believe this is happening to me. All the bad truth I don't wanna see. And those blues be coming down. Now that that woman's not around, there ain't no time to be saving face. 'Cause I'm just gonna find myself lost in space. coming in for a cry. And I've already smoked up all of my stash. Well, I can't wait till the morning comes. I'm gonna shake until that deal is done. And those blues be coming down. Now that that woman's not around, there ain't no time to be saving face. I'm just gonna find